white trash is another word for it, right? But so we try to figure out where to space those based on trash generation on space station as well. And so, and I'm trying to think ahead. I think the next orbital mission was, I think, in the March time period. And so we're trying to figure out, spacing wise, trash accumulation, and when we should put those orbital missions in place. It's another factor of where we come to place the launches when we do. But from a spares, from a food, from a water supply, we could accommodate. Our consumables are in very, very good shape on board the space station. So the slip there will basically have no impact to our crew of 4.
We'll go back to Marcia.
Marcia Dunn, Associated Press. Question first for Hans. What do you see as the biggest hurdles to make a November launch date for the Falcon Heavy? And then I have for Dan, the ice cream bars are going up in a freezer. Is there signs going up inside of that too, or is it just going up empty to bring stuff back?
Biggest hurdle for the November launch date of Falcon Heavy. Well, if I know the biggest hurdles now, then I would actually actively working on it. We would throw resources at it, and other hurdles would become the biggest hurdles. And these are big projects. I would say it has to be both working on Falcon Heavy and on the LC-40 side. So in other words, LC-40 needs to be ready before we can switch over. So those are two major projects at this point in time. We had a chance to make really good improvements on LC-40 and get a lot of the automation and redundancy that we had on here on 39A also into 40. So that's definitely a much better path than it was before. And so we got to get this up and going. And then likewise, Falcon Heavy, it has complexities. Obviously, it's a big rocket, 3 different rockets together, basically. And so that needs to be done too. Maiden flights are hard to plan. I mean, we plan them obviously, and then there are concerns that need to be addressed and hardware that needs to be tested. And that's where the uncertainty comes in. But overall, I can tell you it worked pretty well in the last couple of months on Falcon Heavy and both the LC-40. So I think we have a good shot at it.
And as far as the other goods, it's a pretty, I guess, a challenging job. It's when you try to figure out how much cold research you're going to go fly, either in freezers or in cold bags, and then you work on their temperature variations that they need and their durations. It's an iterative process, and you try to figure out amongst all of our assets that we fly up, which are several types of freezers and cold bags, how they best fit pack-wise and meet all the requirements. And at times we have excess volume based on we could accommodate all of our requirements, and we had some excess volume. And I think in this particular case, we have more than the usual amount of ice cream products going up in one of our cold bags. I'll put it that way. So we did pretty good. They'll be happy. They'll be happy. They'll be happy.
And so it's not sitting alongside experiment stuff too. I mean, it's just.
If it would, we would do all the proper containment and separation. So
and I'm sorry, did you say cold packs or is it an actual freezer?
I don't know where. Maybe we have cold bags, which you kind of put ice bricks in, frozen bricks that kind of keep it. The temperature inside the cold bag cold, or we have active refrigerators. In this particular case, I can't remember.
Yeah, the other thing that we've had going on, we've had a couple of our freezers fail on board recently, so it may be that these are spares to go up to replace the ones that we're using. So there you've got capacity as they're going up.
If we could go back to the second row.
Excuse me, I'm Tim Fernholtz from Quartz. A couple times today we've mentioned the importance of late load to the scientific research mission. I'm just curious if Hans, you can talk about the engineering and operational challenge of delivering that capability for NASA, and maybe Peter, Dan, why that is so important to your work.
So on you want to go first, or?
Well, I'll let Pete take over late load. I mean,
yeah. Okay, I go first. So, from the engineering perspective, it is basically a clean room with a what's it called? Forgot the intermediate room where you. An airlock, yes, exactly. where you basically pass stuff on, and then if you load it in particular into Dragon in the horizontal phase.